Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time of day it is, wherever you are. Welcome to the Crypto Blast, where myself and Cam from Institutional Fi, well, mainly Cam, will be giving us a roundup of the latest pricing, flows, and market moving news in crypto markets. But before he does, I'll get the legals out of the way. Nothing discussed on the Spaces session constitutes trading or investment advice or infers any kind of endorsement by PIQ, Institutional Fi, myself, Ryan Paisley, or indeed the wonderful, the magnificent Cam. Cam, how are you, my dear friend?
Oh, very well. How are you?
Oh, what was that? What was that sigh for? What's wrong? It's a Friday.
Oh.
It's sunny.
No, you tell you what, it was a happy sigh. It's been quite
Oh, okay,
grey.
okay.
And then as you asked me that, the sun has just peeked through the clouds and the room I'm in is very, very bright. So there
Well,
you
you know
go.
what? I've said it before. It's been said about me before. I bring the fucking sunshine.
Oh, that's brilliant. That is brilliant.
What's been
Have
going
you
on in
been drinking
crypto?
by any chance? No, no.
No, I'm not. I'm actually. Well, get this. I'm actually drinking a cherry aid at the moment. But
Oh,
anyway, yeah. No, we'll be moving on to the hard stuff very shortly.
the rumors are true. You're 14.
Panda Pop is the best. Anyway, enough about me and not drinking for a change. What's been going on in crypto markets, my dear friend?
Let's jump into it. We'll start off with the crypto market update and then hop over into the news. So Bitcoin continues to hover around with around $112,250. It's very much so in a compressed range. It moves a modest 2% bounce from yesterday's lows. The $112,500 region is proving to be a little bit sticky in terms of resistance, keeping BTC boxed in for now. But of course, we've got NFP data coming out soon, and no doubt it's going to introduce some volatility into the crypto sector. Ethereum, meanwhile, suffered a sharp 5% dip yesterday after the Nasdaq's tightening scrutiny of crypto-linked capital raises spooked the markets. That move has mostly unwound, with ETH now back to $4,413, but the headline risk is lingering. Across majors, the altcoin sector remains quite steady. XRP at $2.84, BNB at $850, and Solana trading at $206. The tone is, very much of resilience in the crypto sector so far this week, but the NASDAQ clampdown story has definitely spooked pockets of the market, particularly among corporates using Bitcoin or other digital asset treasury strategies. So let's just get a little bit more into the details and move on to the news side. So insiders suggest that the Nasdaq is tightening its grip on companies raising funds to stockpile crypto. Shares in DATs, digital asset treasuries, and cryptocurrency reserve companies dropped sharply after this news broke out yesterday. I was on a Spaces with Wolf Financial last night, all about Bitcoin treasuries, and Tim Kotzman was on the call yesterday, and he said, without naming names, naming sources and companies, it's very, very vague, basically that he knows of a few different corporations which allegedly purchased BTC off the books without board approval. So if this was true, then the Nasdaq's belt tightening looks less about stifling innovation here, and more about beefing up shareholder protection, as they should be.
No,
The last thing we need, the last thing we need is for that to get out of hand. And you can understand why from a company's perspective. You're starting seeing all these DATCOs raised left, right, and centre. We're well above 100 now. I think it's 180 of these different corporations transforming into digital asset treasuries. And you just want to add 10, 20 BTC to the balance sheet just to get your foot in the door. Well, you need to go about that properly. You can't be cutting corners here.
No, and this is it, right? Yeah, it's not glamorous, it's not sexy, but these hurdles, these guardrails need to be, well, firstly put in place and then abided by.
Yeah, so if they don't abide by this tightening, they face being delisted off the Nasdaq. So there we go. An incentive to stick in the rules there. Moving on to tokenization of equities. Again, it's a theme that we mentioned earlier on in the week. I think this is going to be continuing to be in the headlines over the coming weeks. Ondo launched its tokenized equities platform, offering over 100 US stocks and ETFs on Ethereum, with BNB Chain and Solana integrations to follow. Interestingly, the US and the UK are excluded, leaving the product squarely targeting offshore demand. Ondo will also plug into Blockstreet to enable shortening, lending, hedging, essentially bringing Wall Street style positioning tools on chain. And over to Galaxy Digital, again, with tokenization. Galaxy Digital is taking the plunge into tokenization, offering investors the ability to convert Galaxy shares into on-chain tokens through Superstate's opening bell. While initially KYC gated, the future roadmap includes liquidity via AMMs, a tangible example of how registered equities are moving into DeFi frameworks. And another DATCO, there's going to be a few of those in in today's blast. Alpha Ton Capital announced plans to acquire 100 million Ton coins, raising $38 million in private placements, secured $35 million from BitGo Prime. The play is explicitly Telegram aligned, cementing Aton as a hybrid between the listed equity and a crypto native treasury company. Again, those DATCOs that we keep talking about. Banks have started to return to crypto custody. We've seen that US Bancorp has resumed crypto custody through NYDIG, restarting with BTC support for ETFs and registered funds. The move was shelved years back due to the SEC capital constraints, but reviewed under Trump's, I'm not going to say deregulatory push, but basically what it is. While limiting its scope, it's a signal of institutional infrastructure reactivating around this digital asset custody.
Just on this, I think we're going to start seeing the floodgates open on this because banks just won't want to be left behind on this. It's literally, it's almost like a Mexican standoff. Everyone's like, okay, well, when do we make the move? And, I thought we saw Franklin Templeton, they've been a very solid bastion of custodianship. And obviously those that, as we've mentioned before, they are a custodian bank. So it's like safe as houses. Like, as all banks in theory should be safe, but someone like Franklin Templeton are the safest. Again, they're not glamorous, they're not sexy, but it's where banks keep their money basically. And I think we're going to see a lot more banks start rolling out the custodianship because simply they know that this is what's going, and they know they'll lose business if they don't offer those services.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And the confidence around, legal frameworks we've seen this week, I believe it was Tuesday, the CFTC and the SEC issue a joint statement. Well, that hadn't happened before, in the crypto landscape. So now that they have, and giving the green light to every other exchange to start listing spot pairs in BTC, ETH and, the higher altcoins, they're going to feel much more, safer in going ahead and announcing that they are going to be taking custody of these assets. And like you mentioned, they're just not going to want to miss the boat on this. So there we go. We'll monitor that one going forward. News regarding Polymarkets. The CFTC approved Polymarket to go live in the United States following a no-action relief on swap data reporting for event contracts. Prediction markets, have been notoriously difficult to regulate products, making this a potentially watershed moment again for on-chain betting platforms. Sorry, I just lost. There we go. So SUI Group Holdings leans heavily in. Basically, they have announced the purchase of $344 million of SUI tokens, adding it to their SUI treasury, renaming their company to the SUI Group, which it's kind of a given as to what asset they're going to be buying. So they've still got around.
Let me think about this one.
Yeah. What are they? I wonder how much BTC they've got. Well, they're named SUI Group, so. So yeah, they've got around $58 million still in cash. That's positioned outwards to purchase the SUI to add it to their treasury. Again, I'd probably at the end of this call we'll talk about the cons to these DATCOs, because trust me, there's cons as well as advantages. But with that recent announcement from the NASDAQ, there could be more cons than pros at the moment. But just hopping over to something else, Ukraine's parliament passed a bill on taxing crypto with an 18% income tax plus a 5% military levy. It's a positive step in legitimizing digital assets over in Ukraine. However, obviously that's quite a steep bit of income tax. I'm not entirely sure that's going to, what do you call it? Bring people over there to participate in digital assets. Coinbase is pushing through an AI mandate. So CEO Brian Armstrong has ordered all Coinbase engineers to adopt AI development assistance, GitHub, Copilot, Cursor, within just 1 week or face dismissal. Already a third of Coinbase's code base comes from AI. The target is 50% by quarter end. He put out a statement on X to back this up. The clear message is that Coinbase wants to be as much as an AI first tech company as one as focuses on crypto. Grayscale expands its ETF lineup. For those that like covered calls, Grayscale unveiled its Ethereum covered call ETF with the ticker ETCO. It won't hold ETH spot, but rather ETP linked derivatives, distributing yields systematically twice per month. This design is more income oriented than growth, but it points to increasing financial engineering around ETH. We've seen Fireblocks valued at $8 billion. They launched a stablecoin payments rail integrating Circle, Zero Hash, Yellow Card, and Stripe's bridge acquisition. It's positioned Fireblocks squarely in the multi-stablecoin settlement race, competing with banks and fintechs for that B2B flow. I tagged you with this name yesterday, I think, Ryan. Mega Matrix.
Oh God.
I know.
To be fair, though, the depressing thing is this is a relatively normal name compared to some of the ones we've had recently.
Yeah. I was do you want to add Matrix into the name of your treasury company that you're going to start? Blue or red pill. That's it. So Mega Matrix has filed a $2 billion shelf. The MPU filed a raise of $2 billion in fresh capital, embarking funds to expand its DAT strategy and accumulate tokens like Athena's ENA, which is going to be their largest holding. I think this is going to be the first for ENA. Yet another NASDAQ listed player converting into a digital asset treasury. The SEC is drafting new rules. So the SEC dropped a crypto regulatory agenda exploring safe harbors for token issuance, simplified disclosure requirements, and potential exchange and ATS listings. So telling pivot, but not just tightening, but actively seeking to ease compliance hurdles for corporations going forward. What I'd be keen and interested in as to when this agenda gets a little bit more detail out there is whether they're going to be simplifying the ETF regulations for spot assets. Strategy may now qualify for S&P 500 inclusion after reporting a $14 billion unrealized BTC gain. Passive flows would be around $16 billion if included, indirectly giving institutions exposure to $70 billion of BTC treasury. This could be the defining moment for corporates as ETFs.
Just on this, I did make a post about this earlier on in the week. Gun to my head, I think that inclusion into the S&P 500 for strategy will mark the top of strategy. We might get a brief honeymoon period, but I can picture this being very, very bad for strategy because there'll be far more. I just trying to choose my words very carefully here. I think it'll be one of these things where there's so much froth in the strategy price. I think that'll be blown off very quickly if they get included into the S&P. Remind me in 12 months, etc., etc.
Like a good German beer. So
yeah, exactly.
No, I tend to agree with your thoughts there. There was an interesting comments made from Bloomberg's James Seifert. It's around altcoin season. We hear about this all the time. He's arguing that we're in an altcoin season, but not via retail-driven token pumps, but via corporate treasuries. These DATCOs that we're seeing accumulate altcoins. He noted also that upcoming ETF approvals likely won't repeat Bitcoin's success. Instead, basketed multi-asset ETFs will dominate, mirroring traditional finance's desire to spread risk across the table, which, to be honest, is quite a sensible approach with that. If you've got an argument against, quote unquote, if you want to say an alt season, just where altcoins rally against the Bitcoin dominance, look at ETH, for example, very much experiencing, 200% rally over the last couple of months. you don't get that in, normal sideways chop. It's 100% a rally toward the upside. You can't even argue that. So, yeah, it's a very, very sensible, take on the market from James Seifert. We've seen that the UK is starting to tighten their AML rules. So the UK Treasury has released a draft amendment to anti-money laundering regulations, imposing stricter requirements on crypto firms. The FCA will introduce a broader fit and proper test for company controllers, replacing the current beneficial ownership test. In addition, the threshold for controller change notifications will be lowered from 25% to 10%. Requiring any party acquiring 10% or more of shares of significant influence to notify the FCA. So a very important rule change here that could be coming in the UK. Just interestingly, quickly talking on the ETF flows over in the United States. US spot Bitcoin ETF saw a total net outflow of $227 million yesterday, and the spot Ethereum ETFs posted a net outflow of $167 million, marking 4 consecutive days of withdrawals for the Ethereum ETF products. Stripe and Paradigm launched Tempo, a stablecoin centric blockchain with Visa, Deutsche Bank, Shopify, and Standard Chartered as early partners. It aims to undercut SWIFT and card networks on cross-border settlements, remittances, and AI-driven micropayments. So yeah, the company there is Tempo. I believe when you've got those people backing you, this is probably a name that we're going to be hearing quite often over the next couple of weeks, because that is a strong team behind there. Tether as well, they're eyeing a gold expansion. So Tether, they already hold over $8.7 billion in gold reserves. They're reportedly in talks to expand into mining, refining, and refining royalties. A $105 million strategic stake in Elemental Atlas was the first toe in the water for Tether, but if executed fully, Tether could emerge as a gold major industrial power, reinforcing Tether CEO's thesis that gold may be safer than sovereign currencies, as he made a post out earlier today on X. And that's really going to be it for me. Obviously, we've been watching quite closely it's an NFP print that's going to be happening in around just under 15 minutes time.
You say that, so there's just been a headline out just before we came on air from BLS saying they've got technical issues, so it might not be out at halfway, it might not be out at the bottom of the hour, we don't know. Another reason why ADP is better than NFP. I'm just going to leave it there. One thing that I just seen on PIQ Newswire, our new Twitter account, which is just a fire hose of headlines and full articles, etc. Do follow that account. It's all in the bio, etc., etc., etc. Is apparently Justin Sun, who invested 75 million into Trump's World Liberty Financial crypto venture. Apparently, all of his tokens are locked, and he doesn't seem to He's approached World Liberty Financial team to unlock his tokens publicly. But yeah, he doesn't seem to understand why he's been locked out. So that's an interesting one.
Yeah, so I can sort of touch on it. Now, the reason why I wasn't going to initially cover this is because I don't have the full details and I've not looked into, it's all on chain. So you can see the movements on chain. So he's being accused of basically allowing someone to sell his tokens that have been recently unlocked to suppress the price and push the price down of World Liberty Financial, which was against his agreement. And also there was moving some of the locked tokens apparently. I'm not entirely sure how he's done it, but that's what he's being accused of. He's put a plea out, which was definitely written by AI. To World Liberty Financial, saying he loves every single one of the World Liberty Financial community, and he wants nothing but the best. Yeah. Of which
he
it looks like
buyers,
his account was one of.
Sellers.
Yeah, so it looks like he's breached his contract of some sort. So World Liberty Financial have blacklisted his addresses there. We'll follow this one up once the story's a little bit clearer. I was going to say this feels like something
we'll have far more on our next catch up, which will be on Monday. Which, to be fair, is a great way to end the show. There you go. Everyone tune in on Monday for more on this story. But Cam, thank you so much as always. I really, really appreciate the updates. I know our listeners do too. Huge thanks to everyone that listens, especially those that take the time to actually listen to us live whilst we're speaking. You know, to the vast majority of you that are playing this back, you'll probably know more about the Justin Sun story than we do at this point. But yeah, Cam, wish you a phenomenal weekend, and as well to our listeners. Whatever you're doing, keep it tight, stay safe, and we'll see you all on Monday for our next Crypto Blast. Much love.
Have a great weekend, everybody.